Hey everyone, welcome to our explainer on navigating the business licensing process right here in Seattle. Look, whether you're launching a massive tech startup, opening up a cozy neighborhood cafe, or maybe just turning that weekend side hustle into a full-time gig, we're going to completely demystify Seattle's licensing requirements today. We've got a complete, step-by-step roadmap to get you fully compliant and ready to roll.
To kick things off, I want to throw a staggering number at you: 127,900. That's how many active business licenses are currently recorded in the Seattle area. There's this common misconception out there that the regulatory system is just, built for massive multinational corporations, or that getting a license is some insurmountable hurdle for the little guy. No way. This number absolutely shatters that myth. People are navigating the system successfully every single day. So, who actually holds all those licenses? Well, everyday solo entrepreneurs make up a massive 38% chunk of that total. We're talking sole proprietorships, freelancers, consultants, independent makers. Meanwhile, corporations, they only make up 20%. To put that into perspective, it brilliantly illustrates that Seattle's local economy truly thrives on small hustles and independent creators just like you. All right, let's dive into Section 1. Welcome to Seattle Business. Why licensing matters. Getting your paperwork in order isn't just about paying fees to the city. It's absolutely crucial for establishing credibility. Getting your license ensures legal compliance, protects you from some pretty hefty fines, and honestly, it builds immediate trust with your customers and partners because they can easily look up your legal status online. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, do I actually need one of these? Well, the answer is almost certainly yes. The city casts a super wide net. It covers freelancers typing away in a home office, retail stores, bars, cafes, short-term rental managers handling vacation properties, even nonprofits if they're earning revenue. And get this, even if your business is headquartered outside the city, but you work as a contractor within Seattle city limits, you still need this license. Really, only individual employees are off the hook here.
Moving on to Section 2, State Registration and UBI, laying the groundwork.
Okay, so before you can even wave hello to the city of Seattle, you've got to get your state-level paperwork sorted out. You can't just jump straight to the end. Here is the golden, three-step sequential roadmap that every new business has to follow. Step 1, entity formation at the Secretary of State. Step 2, getting your unified business identifier from the Department of Revenue. And finally, Step 3, applying for your local license with the city of Seattle. If you try to do these out of order, your application is basically just going to get stuck in limbo. But hold on, here is a critical distinction that trips up a lot of beginners. Your specific path actually depends entirely on your legal structure. If you're forming a domestic corporation, an LLC, or a partnership, you absolutely must file your formation documents with the Washington Secretary of State before you do anything else. However, if you are operating as a sole proprietorship, you get to skip the Secretary of State entirely. Yep, you get to fast-tracked straight to the Department of Revenue, a real game changer for solo acts. So the crucial point of dealing with the state is securing your UBI, or Unified Business Identifier. This is usually a 9-digit or sometimes a 16-digit number. Think of it as your ultimate business ID card. It's totally unique to you, and it essentially ties your business to every government agency in Washington. You are going to need this number to file taxes, hire employees, and, most importantly for our roadmap today, apply for your city license. Which brings us to Section 3, getting your Seattle BLTC, the city level. All right, with that state UBI in hand, you are officially ready to bring it down to the local level and deal with the city of Seattle directly. Now, in Seattle, the local business license goes by a specific acronym, the BLTC, which stands for Business License Tax Certificate. You might hear people call it a general business license or a business tax certificate, but honestly, in Seattle, they all mean the exact same thing. This document is your official legal green light. It's what actually authorizes you to operate within the city limits. And here is a massive pro tip that's going to save you so much time and frustration. When you go to apply for your BLTC, use the online File Local portal. File Local is this multi-city tax administration system used by Seattle, Bellevue, Tacoma, and a few others. If you create an account and apply online, the turnaround time is roughly 10 business days. But if you decide to print the PDF and mail it in, oh man, you are looking at a wait of up to 6 weeks. Do yourself a massive favor and keep it digital, for sure. Let's talk money in Section 4. Understanding fees and taxes. What will it cost?
Look, getting your business legitimized comes with costs, and it's super important to know exactly what to expect so you can budget accordingly. Take a look at this progressive 5-tier fee structure based on the updated 2026 rates. It scales directly with how much taxable revenue you made in the city during the previous calendar year. So if your business brought in less than $20,000, your annual base fee is a very manageable $73. On the totally opposite end of the spectrum, if you're pulling in over $5 million, that fee jumps up to $3,210. And if you're a brand new entity with zero tax history, don't sweat it. The city will just assess you that lowest tier 1 fee as a placeholder just to get you started. Now, aside from that base fee, you definitely want to be aware of a few small administrative costs, so there are absolutely no surprises at checkout. If your business happens to have multiple physical locations in Seattle, there's an extra $10 fee for each additional branch. Using that file local system we talked about incurs a non-refundable $4 maintenance fee per city. And finally, payment processing. It'll cost you just $1 if you use a direct ACH bank transfer, but if you decide to use a credit card, you'll get hit with a 2.49% fee. So, what does this all mean for the really small operations? This brings us to a very common point of confusion, especially for new side hustlers. What happens if your business is barely making anything? Like, what if you make less than $2,000 a year? Well, this brilliantly illustrates the difference between taxation and licensing. If your gross receipts are under $2,000, you're entirely exempt from paying the Seattle Business and Occupation, or BO tax. However, you are not exempt from registration. You must still hold the active business license tax certificate. Having the license doesn't mean you automatically owe taxes, it just means you are legally authorized to operate.
Let's pivot a bit to Section 5, Special Rules and Updates, Home Businesses and Food Service.
Let's dive into some specialized use cases. If you run a home-based business, you are going to absolutely love this update. Historically, zoning laws made home businesses really tough. They were strictly appointment only, capped at just 2 non-resident employees, and had severe limits on commercial deliveries. But thanks to the recent City Council Bill 120520, affectionately known as the Bringing Business Home Bill, a ton of those pandemic-era relaxations were made permanent. Appointments are no longer required, that non-resident employee cap is totally gone, and you can even operate in outdoor spaces like your yard, as long as you meet basic noise and odor guidelines. Today, you generally don't even need a special land use permit for a home business. You just need your standard state and city licenses.
On the flip side, if you are opening a restaurant or food service establishment, well, your checklist is a whole lot longer. Before you can even think about opening your doors, you have to determine your NAICS classification, submit a highly detailed plan review to King County Public Health, and actually pass a physical pre-opening inspection by an environmental health officer. Oh, and if you plan to serve alcohol, you're going to need a completely separate license from the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board. The sequence here is rigorous, and skipping even one step can delay your grand opening by months. All right, bringing it all together in Section 6, Summary and Final Steps, Launching Your Business.
We've covered the state requirements, the city application, the fees, and even some unique edge cases. But as we wrap up, let's talk about a highly practical troubleshooting tip. What if you misplace your physical Seattle business license tax certificate? First off, don't panic. It literally happens to the best of us. You can easily request a quick replacement just by calling 206-684-8484 or shooting an email over to tax@seattle.gov. They are great about reissuing it quickly so you can stay fully compliant without skipping a beat. Now, I do need to leave you with an essential reminder. While this explainer provides a super comprehensive roadmap to get you started, things like regulatory frameworks, zoning laws, and tax tiers can and definitely do change. The information we've laid out today is derived directly from state and city resources, but, every single business is unique. We highly recommend consulting with a legal advisor or a tax professional just to ensure you are personally compliant and set up for long-term success. So, whether you're working out of your garage under those awesome new home business rules or you're navigating health inspections for your brand new cafe, the path to compliance is clear and totally achievable. You've got the roadmap, you know the costs, and you understand the exact steps. So, are you ready to legitimize your Seattle hustle? Take that first step with the state today, and let's get your business on the map.